What's up, guys? Welcome to the King Closer Reacts. Today, I am going to be reacting to the only other person in the entire industry that has earned the right to call them a King Closer, Steve Francis. Now, he did it on the disposition side. He won the 2023 Closers Olympics Dispositions Challenge. Massively impressive showing, okay? He went out there. I think he made like $92,000 in assignments in 45 minutes. It was crazy. But that being said, he did get to cherry pick his deals that he brought to the Closers Olympics. He did a great job negotiating. I'm not denying that. But what we're going to react to today is a little bit different of a scenario, okay? He's actually taking someone else's deal, not his own deal, okay, in a market that he's not familiar with, and he's going to live dispo it using InvestorLift. So I have not seen this yet. What I'm curious to see, what is the difference between the Steve Francis and the Closers Olympics to the Steve Francis on a more, hey, freedom of time, right? There's no time constraint here. There's no judges. There's no Jerry Norton or David Olds or Robert Winsley watching you and critiquing your everything. And let's find out, is Steve Francis the Dispo King Closer? Let's pull it up. All right. Here's what we got. We're on InvestorLift. I might have to move myself here. I'm going to move myself over there. There we go. There's Steve down in the bottom right corner. Let's get started. He's just answering the phone. My team told me the 36-minute mark. So it took him 36 minutes to do an intro to the video and all of that to get to this point. As you can see here, he's looking at his inquiries on InvestorLift. All right, all the inquiries. This is in Atlanta, Georgia. I mean, it's a banger of a deal, obviously. He's getting a lot of traction. So he's answering the phone right here with an in buyer coming in.
Steve, how are you? Good. I'm reaching back out. I think you had called about the deal out in Atlanta.
Yeah, I just saw that one. Yeah, where are you located?
So I operate out of San Antonio, Texas, but like I said, we do deals all over the nation. So
that's going to be that's a very common question right out of the gates when you're a virtual wholesaler, specifically with in buyers that are, not really that, I guess, knowledgeable about, virtual wholesaling, how wholesalers work, InvestorLift, all the different technology that exists, right? Put yourself in an in buyer shoe. You're focused on buying houses, rehabbing them, managing your crews. You're not really worried about all the new lead generation tactics, the dispo tools and the systems and stuff like that. So that's going to be a very common question. Like if you're dispoing a deal in Atlanta, Georgia, and you're contacting them from a San Antonio, Texas phone number like Steve is, you're going to get that question. So where are you from? San Antonio. What's got you dispoing a deal in Atlanta, Georgia? That right out of the gates, they just want to kind of verify that, like, hey, this is a real deal.
that one in Atlanta is one that we just picked that one up.
Okay, yeah. I don't know how you work. I mean, obviously, I haven't really bought it without you guys.
Okay.
Finished a couple of lists down at Tampa City Beach. So I'm just trying to figure out how you guys work. And, when you said bidding process, that like the high.
Okay, real quick. So he just brought up bidding process. I will say on the write-up right here, in the yellow, it says you can click the Win It Now button and avoid all the bidding and lock this one down right now. So this is one of the things that we're extremely big on when it comes to the dispositions process. Like sometimes less is more. Like we get carried away with our language. I don't necessarily know if Steve wants to get this into like a bidding war, because you don't want to run off like a good in buyer by thinking like some good in buyers. You'll be like, I don't want to mess around with a bidding war. Like, what is the dollar amount that you want? And I'll say yes or no. And you see, they say starting at 115,000. I don't know that Steve wrote this up or not, but again, an objection right out of the gates. Tell me about your process. How does this work? It says the bidding, it's a concern of the end buyer. We want to try to eliminate those concerns. Let's see how Steve overcomes that objection.
I don't know how you work.
Got it. Yeah. I'll give you the rundown. No problem. So InvestorLift is actually a platform for people. So this is, again, first and foremost, going to be an assignment of contract. So have you worked with those before? Do you understand that process?
Yeah, generally, yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, perfect. So
love that part right there. He's verifying like, hey, this is an assignment of contract. I love how he says that, where it's not, hey, I'm selling a property or I'm wholesaling a property. It's an assignment of contract. That language is very important for you as a wholesaler to understand. And I love how he validates that. He's talking about InvestorLift, like this is how, it's a platform. And he kind of explained that briefly. So he's immediately kind of building credibility with the end buyer right there, while also getting validation that he understands what an assignment of contract is. So I really kind of love how he handled that objection right at the start.
It's a platform for guys like me that get these contracts to get it in front of people like you, right? You were on a list on here that said you were a vetted buyer, so it's someone that they take seriously on the platform, so they want to put those deals in front of you. The bidding process, I mean, right now we're offering this at $115,000. So really, sometimes we'll do like a win it now, buy it for 120 or whatever on it. But again, really the idea is to get in front of guys, investors like you in the market and, see if we can make a deal happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So love how he handled that. The guy clearly understands what's happening. Gotcha. This is a key point in the conversation, because it seems like now Steve has overcome the concerns that the end buyer might have had, unless he comes up with another objection now. But if I'm in Steve's shoes, my focus now is all right, I have answered your questions. Now I need you to start answering some of my questions. Like, are you serious about this? Why am I overcoming these objections? Let's get down to business here. Are you going to be able to do this deal at 115? That's kind of where my mind would be if I'm in Steve's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get the phone a little closer to the mic?
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are always going to be either cash or hard money, right? Cash, hard money, private money, IRAs, things like that. So no traditional financing or anything. So that's typically how we do it as far as that goes. Is this your primary market, the Atlanta area?
Well, so I did a couple of flips down in Panama City Beach. So really,
That's a subtle little nuance there, but the end buyer asked Steve a question. The audio is a little bit muffled on the buyer's side. Clearly, it was about financing of some sort, because Steve says, hey, it's got to be hard money or cash only. But instead of just answering and then allowing the end buyer to dictate the rest of the conversation, Steve's now going back to his process, and he's taking control of the conversation, where it's like, hey, is Atlanta your main market? Because now that's really where he wants to find out, like, why are we having this conversation? So I do love that question, because he took control right there.
I'm more familiar with that area, but I'm actually living here now. I moved to California, so.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Kind of a little bit north of whatever planet proper, but that's easily a doable distance, I guess I would say. So.
For sure. And you're looking to get into more flips and things like that?
Yeah, I'm kind of evaluating what I want to do right now. But yeah, I'm primarily probably going to focus on flips for the time being. Kind of work out a team. I've got a fairly decent network of people right now.
One thing I want you to pay attention to is right under that first picture on the bottom left. See the little eyeball? It says 75. That means only 75 buyers had seen the marketing of this property. Okay. And he's at 39 minutes in on this. And he's already, it feels like he's talking to a pretty solid buyer that's interested in the deal with the questions that the buyers asked so far. That's really solid numbers because 75 is not a ton. Honestly, you would hope that number to be a little bit higher, but they are early on in the process. And so that's really impressive that he's already having this quality of conversation.
Right.
I know who to close with. I'm putting together a team is what it amounts to, but I've got a pretty decent team and a pretty decent group of people that I can source a lot of information.
Okay. Perfect.
He has the buyer selling himself as to why he's a good end buyer. A subtle little nuance there on asking the question about, hey, is this your main market? Got him to open up. I believe he said he's from California or something along those lines. I saw in there California equals money to spend. And then now he's talking about, I've got a decent little team, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that buyers are really kind of saying like, yeah, I mean, I'm the guy for this already when they haven't even really discussed, how serious are you about buying this? And what would your offer be? Pretty impressive by Steve so far.
As far as that goes, I guess one of my questions for you, when we do this marketing, it does get in front of a lot of investors and things like that, right? So these deals typically do move pretty fast. So I kind of want to get kind of a barometer for what your process looks like. I mean, first off, knowing this is a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 986 square feet, rents estimate around 1,700. Is that 115 price point for you? Is that something that you're comfortable with?
Ooh. Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with that. Because I was looking around the airport, that area in particular, right around the airport.
Got it.
So
nice. Okay.
Down there for that. So that's kind of what that's pretty much in the ballpark for the best too. So.
Okay. Well, on something like this, I mean, the next process would be, hey, if you're comfortable with the 115, then we'll shoot you an assignment out. Now, our earnest money is typically due within, 24 hours. We like it as soon as possible. I know it's a little later out there, so definitely probably tomorrow morning or so. But I then turn you over to my transaction coordinator that will help coordinate the close, from the point that, earnest money gets there to when, we end up closing this deal, whether cash or hard money, as far as that goes. So,
wow. That I had to say, the level of confidence and aggression there by Steve is super impressive. Like, are you familiar with this area? Are you comfortable at the 115? He says, yeah, I'm comfortable at the 115. I know this area. He said something about by the airport. And then Steve just immediately is like, well, the next step here, he's not asking the buyer, like, what's your next step? Because once the guy said, yeah, I'm comfortable at the 115, he's assuming that close all the way. And I love how he just immediately went into earnest money deposit. We would need that probably first thing in the morning. I can go ahead and send you out the assignment. I mean, this is full on assumption of the sell, baby. Love the confidence by Steve there.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So have you worked in Atlanta area, or is it like just a deal for marketing, just random kind of a deal? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. Well, so just to be 100% transparent, our primary markets are like the major Texas metro markets, right? But we do have a lot of partners that'll send us some deals, specifically because of the platform, right? We can put it out in front of 14,000 investors and really kind of drum up a buzz on each of these deals. So that's kind of what that looks like. Atlanta, we've done a few deals, there, not enough to make me, the go-to guy for Atlanta, but definitely enough to make me, able to find good deals and get them in front of people like you. So.
Gotcha. Well, I'm more curious, like if you've got the established, clothing companies, so on and so forth, that you've worked with that are familiar with this, because not everybody's familiar with this.
Absolutely.
This kind of contracts and stuff. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What the assignment is going to include, like the title company that we're working with, the attorney that we're working with. So you definitely have that as a reference point for any deals moving forward, as far as that goes. Yeah, yeah. And you get connected with those guys anyway throughout the closing process. So if you want to use them moving forward, then that's something you can definitely do. You know, we're all about building relationships and building each other up here. So I mean, I don't mind if you use our guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's if they if they're licensed in Georgia, they can close in Georgia and so on and so forth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so it really it sounds like, you know, this may be a property for you. Do you have a like an email address or anything I might be able to send that assignment out to?
Yeah, email address is Evans and Mike from.
Get rid of the can't show you give you guys the email address. We don't want to do that. Dude, that was impressive. Well, still doing the email. I love the confidence, the aggression, and then the like being pretty forceful there with like, so you're ready to get this?
Steve, I unmuted you. I can't unmute you, my bad.
What entity do you guys, or do you want to close this one in? Do you guys have a setup entity for the area? Okay. 5, 8, 4, 5, 4. Let me just make sure I got it right. I don't have it on here for whatever reason. Okay. So one more time on that email, man. Sorry. So you said N.
Struggling with the email there, but I always like people to text me their emails. I lost out on a deal one time because I asked them to tell me their email. Same thing that Steve's doing right here, and then I didn't get it right. And then the next day when I followed up and asked why they didn't check the email, the contract, they said, "Well, I never got one. I think you're a scammer." Blah blah blah. And it was just because there was a typo in the email.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, cool. Okay, so then got your email there. Can you text me over the LLC that you're looking to do that in, and then we'll shoot that assignment over to you.
Could have gotten the email text too.
Like 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. Actually, give me 2 seconds, man. I want to make sure. Let me open.
Is there anything else you can tell? I saw the pictures of the house. You know, obviously pretty good at the time. Is there anything else you can tell me about the house?
Yeah, so it is currently vacant.
How interesting. So they go through that whole process about send me the assignment, the email, and all this. And now all of a sudden, right before they were about to get off the phone, Steve says, "Hold on, let me check something." He goes to opencorporates.com. And then the buyer says, "Well, is there anything else you can tell me about that house?" I will say it is very uncommon, at least in my experience, to have a buyer not want to have more of a conversation about the details about the property. I mean, this must have been just a great price in an area in which this buyer just do. I will say also on the marketing side, I don't know what they had as far as pictures and videos. If you have great pictures and if you have videos on your dispositions marketing, it just increases the opportunity for you to have more conversations like this. They must have had something because this buyer essentially just called in to say, "I'm ready to go."
It's been vacant for a little bit. You know, as far as that goes, it does have utility, so all that stuff's good. You just got to kind of get the service on and everything like that. What would you need to know about the property? What additional information are you kind of looking for?
Anything that would be kind of dangerous or like important for me to know. You may not know that much about it, but just whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I almost feel like he doesn't really care that much about the property. It almost feels like at this point he's still vetting out Steve a little bit because he's asked a lot of questions about why, where are you from? How does your process work? He's asking Steve a lot of questions. I think he's still a little bit leery about the virtual wholesaling aspect. This conversation has moved pretty quickly. I think Steve has built some rapport with him, but it's moved real fast. And it almost feels like at this point, this end buyer's like, let's pump the brakes here for a second and just verify I'm not getting scammed over here for whatever reason. I don't even know if he would know what the scam could possibly be because there's not one, but it just feels like he's still trying to vet out Steve a little bit at this point.
That's as much right now. Let me know if there's anything additional as far as that goes. As far as the LLC, you said you're more comfortable texting that to me, or can we kind of spell it out as well, just so I can kind of speed up the process? Hello, can you hear me?
Let me text it to you. It's just easier to do it that way.
Okay, yeah, go for it. Go ahead, yeah, shoot me a text, and then we'll get that out to you. Okay.
It's weird.
Yes, sir. Yep, 210-910-5719. Yes, sir. All right, brother. Awesome. Looking forward to it. Gotcha. All right. There you go.
All right. So I do want to hear their reaction to this. I'm curious to see how Steve felt about that because there are some red flags. One, not giving the entity name and saying that he will text it to him. It's just easier that way. Maybe that was because of the like communication with the email and it just kind of irritated him. I'd still think he probably should have texted him the email as well. The questions there at the end kind of made me feel a little bit icky. Tell me a little bit more about the property. It's like, why would you ask that question after you've already agreed to a price? So I do know for a fact that Steve does end up talking to another buyer. So what I want to see here is does Steve say, hey, we're going to continue to go because he doesn't feel comfortable with that, or is it just because they're going to try to get more money?
Yeah, dude, that's one call, baby. Let's go.
One call. Already, and the deal's sold,
What are your
y'all.
next,
I
what are your
mean,
next steps now?
That's great. So next steps now, he's texting me. I got his phone number. What I was trying to do, to be honest, like I would have rather done it all on the phone. You know what I mean? He kind of pushed back. I'd rather let me text it to you. So it's probably something kind of crazy. So hang tight for the text, type up the assignment, send it out, and then connect him with TC title company tomorrow. Is this one in escrow yet or?
Okay, so I'm gonna fast forward. He really seems pretty comfortable with that. Interesting. So I'm gonna fast forward here. It's about 15 more minutes. I think it's somewhere right here. See what's happening here.
And then see if I can get him at like 122.5 or anything higher than that. So that'll be kind of where we're
I
at.
mean, it doesn't sound to me like there's a real price objection from what this guy is saying to me.
All right, hold on. They're mid conversation.
Justice, literally, I won't be able to get one of our team members out there
Got
today.
it. Okay.
All right, I want to hear this. So he's talking to another buyer.
So that means she clicks back in to view the property 4 times.
Question.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Do you think there's on that one? Like I said, we do have the an offer around that as well. They get the full price on it. Do you think there may be some room, north of that 115?
Right or two at most. Like I said,
Okay.
Yeah, we're right there.
I know.
Too hard, but
For sure. And I understand that, like, it is a pretty hot area, hot property. So I do understand that there's only so much extra you can go up. You know what I mean? I understand there's a delta there, but we definitely want to build relationships with somebody. I mean, you're buying 20 houses a month. I mean, you're someone I want on my Rolodex. You know what I mean? Someone I want to do business with in the future. So I definitely want to like reward that for sure, especially if we can get this one closed. I know based on that, like my partner, we're kind of talking about it, and he said that, if you can do like like if you can get this sold at 120, we'll just go like 100%. Let's make it work. Is that something do you think you may be able to do?
So I guess before I guess talking any numbers sort of coming up.
Yeah.
So that one I saw this gonna be taking a close. I didn't know is there a tenant still in there?
No. So
Okay, I already personally like this buyer a lot more. I see Steve is trying to get him up. Steve tried to talk numbers with him. He's like, hey, I'm at 115. The guy's like, yeah, I'm basically at 115 too. He says, well, I've already got an offer at 115. I need you to be at 120. If you can do 120, it's done. And literally the buyer's like, hold on, before we talk numbers, let's talk about the property. What was the biggest concern that I had about the buyer the first time? He was like, yeah, I'm good at 115. And then was like, well, hold on. Tell me more about the property. That just feels icky to me. I didn't like that. I already like this buyer better. So I hope he really pushes to get this buyer. I mean, dude, to be honest with you, even if it's just a little bit more, I mean, they seem happy at the 115. It's literally your asking price. I don't like the bidding wars. You guys know that. Different people have different ways of doing their business, and it's fine. I'm all about building the relationships with the end buyer, which I like what Steve is saying right there, because he's saying the same thing. Listen, you buy 20 houses a month. I want to reward you for that. I love that language and that validation for the end buyer. But this, I'm feeling the vibe on this one.
So it is vacant. Right. Yeah. It is vacant. It was from what I understand, it was like a I think it was like a relative or something. There might have been a squatter in there, but they got them out. And before anything like that happens again, they want to get this like moved. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, this one, I guess 120. We just have to make sure all our numbers are in line.
right.
So I mean, we'd be willing to do 120 if we could just do like 1 day DD. Just to literally, I won't be able to get one of our team members out there
Got
today.
it. Okay.
Ooh, the 1 day due diligence. This is a very common objection. Very common objection. So I'm going to be curious to see how Steve handles this. Quite frankly, it's not really an objection. I mean, you want your end buyer to win. So it's kind of like you almost want to give them that 1 day due diligence to make sure that they're getting it at the number that you need and what they need. But listen, you're live. You want to get it done. How's it going to handle it?
Otherwise, like I said, we do 0 DD all day long.
Okay. What is okay? Well, my question on that, because here's the reality too is like this is day one, everything like that. I know that's what my partners are gonna say, right? And I want to get it moved. As far as that goes, I do know that he may have an issue with that. You know what I mean? Hey, like, or even if he says yes, he is going to say, hey, we still have to continue marketing it. So if we do, get an offer and they do get their earnest money in prior, then, you know what I mean? And I just kind of don't want that in limbo for you either. So I know you said the 115 is good, but like where do we got to be at where it's like, hey, we're just good to go. Let's contract this thing and move forward.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we did sign a contract at 120. Just with 1 day DD. Like I said, it's just I've unwritten hundreds of the property.
Got it.
Ordered at Jar House. I basically ran all their underwriting for the last 3-4 years. And long story short, wound up going on my own, have partnered with the guys.
What do you think about that? The one option period. Do you think we're
U.S. Legacy? They basically did all their rehab at Jar House.
You're asking me let's bug them for 125 with a 1 day option contingency.
Got it.
We sign right now.
Jar House refers to it.
I don't know. I mean, for 1 day of due diligence for 5,000. I mean, the problem with that is Steve threw out the 120. And then the guy said, all right, 120, I need 1 day due diligence. And now you're going to bamboozle him for 5,000 so he can have 1 day of due diligence. Again, I get where you're coming from, where it's like you have a 115 on the hook. This guy's saying, this guy sounds pretty legit. I mean, honestly, in comparison between the two, I like this guy more. Like, he sounds like the guy that I want to sell all of my deals in Atlanta to. So I don't love the bamboozle of the $5,000. My personal opinion is also just feeling him. I don't think he's going to react very well to the 125. I don't think it's going to be like a deal killer, but I think he's going to be like, yeah, no, pass on the 125.
Like I said, I rep under all of them,
Right.
numbers and everything. So our numbers are like 99% of the time they're in line.
Gotcha.
So the rehab expectations. I was saying 1 day TV just because since we're stretching up that then, but ideally just like to have somebody out there tomorrow just to make sure that they're like crazy foundation issue or something.
Right. No, I understand. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
We would squeeze up to that 120 mark, like I said, just be safe though. Like ideally, just like 1 day TV. Just like I would go out there today if I had time. I just have a couple other things on plate right now.
Gotcha.
Then I would say, hey, let's go out there right now, take a look at it, and then we'll just buy enough gear TV. But as long as we have eyes on it, make sure there's no crazy issue. We have no issues.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Give me like 2 seconds. I'm gonna actually put you on hold for a sec, and I'm gonna go into my go and talk to my partner and kind of see how he wants me to move forward on this one as far as that goes. And I'll get right back with you. Okay. So I'm put you on mute here in a second. Should be like no later than a minute or two. Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, man. All right, cool. So got him on mute right now. You said 120. Should I get him up 125?
I say if he wants 1 day, 125.
Gotcha. Okay, we'll do that. So here's how I'm going to frame it. It's just like, I mean, you got to think this is their acquisition. So if you've done acquisitions and you do acquisitions, you literally just have to flip it upside down in your head and run with that. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. So right now, what's the biggest objection that everybody hates, right? Like, oh, let me talk to my wife. Well, guess who my wife is? Business partner. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm doing. It's right. You got to talk to your business partner. You got to clear it. You got to do this. And when I come back on, what I'm gonna say is, hey man, like he really doesn't like that. You know what I mean? He does not like that at all.
All right, I love the analogy. I'm going to break the analogy a little bit, though, Steve. I love you, Steve. Here's the difference. When we're doing acquisitions, right, we're calling them, we're reaching out, and we're trying to find those deals, right? All day long, wholesalers are sending deals to these end buyers. This guy's saying he's buying 20 deals a month. I just don't know that I want to be I don't know if I want to mess around with him. I want to sell all my deals to this guy. Again, this might just be because I've got that nationwide virtual wholesaling mindset. It's all about what enables us to do what we do. It's building those relationships with these types of guys so we don't have to worry about investor lift, marketing, Artemis mode, searching for buyers on God mode, because we could be like, nah, just call homeboy over there. He'll buy it. Steve's probably not worried about that at this point. He's just worried about maximizing this deal. I think he also probably feels comfortable enough with where he stands rapport-wise with this guy that there's no harm in asking, which I would agree with that. I do not think that there's any harm in asking for more money here. Personally, for me, I don't think I would. If this is just a day-to-day thing, I probably wouldn't do it. I probably would say, yeah, we're good at 120 1 day DD.
We typically don't do it. It's not something that we really run with. He said if you can make 125 work, and to be honest, I'm not expecting him to say yes at that. Now I'm going to talk like I am, but I'm not expecting it. So then what I run with is like, hey, it's either I'd rather do forgive or what is it? Rather be ask for forgiveness and permission, and then see if I can get him at like 122.5 or anything higher than that. So that'll be kind of where we're
I
at.
mean, it doesn't sound to me like there's a real price objection from what this guy is saying. To me, it sounds like he's got deep pockets. He's doing 20 a month. He wants to get another property under contract.
Oh,
I think
for sure.
If you pitch him, say, look, man, this has only been on InvestorLift for an hour. I know you want us to stop marketing this property. It sounds like you're doing a lot of business in the area. But in order for us to feel comfortable, we're going to need you to be at $125,000 with 1 day due diligence. We need you out there tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure. The hard closing. Let's do it.
Stand firm, man. There are a lot of people interested in this property.
Gotcha, bro. Hey, Michael, what's up, man? Hey, I'm just making sure you're still there. So I did talk to my partner, man. Unfortunately, he's saying, hey, look, dude, we've got a huge buzz on this thing. It's the first hour out on InvestorLift. He's not too fond of the 1 day DD. We typically don't do that, but what he said is like, hey, dude, if he does it, he does a lot of business in the area. If he does, 125, he can get his 1 day DD, and we'll make it work. We'll stop marketing it. We'll move forward. It'll be his.
Yeah, I'm like the 125 is going to be a real large stretch for us. If you're really in 1 ADD, you can do say 122.
Okay.
But yeah, 125 is like I said, I came out at like 113.5.
Got it.
Pretty far.
Yeah. No, I get you, man. That makes sense. All right. Give me two. I think here's what I think, man. I think he's gonna be the meet it in the middle guy, 122.5 thing. I mean, is it out of the question to do that?
Yeah, I mean that's $500.
Yeah, and that's what I figured. He's a numbers guy. He likes even shit. So I know him by now. He's gonna do that. So 122.5, 1 day DD. We can write this thing up today.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, man. What? Let me double.
All right. So there's Steve talking to two different buyers. I will say, I liked how he handled that buyer a lot more than the first one. I was a little bit confused by the first one. Just like Cassie and I went and spoke at an event in San Antonio, and Steve was there. He was speaking at the event. I talked to Steve for a while. It felt like just either the questions early on or the personality or the phone connection, maybe it was the audio. Something about that conversation with that first buyer just felt a little bit wonky. And it felt like Steve didn't really dig deeper on it. Now, we didn't see as to why he didn't choose that guy. It was like he was using it as leverage to get it up. So he was able to go out and get an additional $7,500 on the assignment fee, which is huge. Because I don't even know what they had this locked up at. But assuming, I mean, it was at somewhere in the range of a $15,000 assignment fee. Now you're up into $22,500 assignment fee. I mean, that's great. I feel like they found the better end buyer there, better long term for them as a wholesaler, navigating the conversation, and on disposition side, I mean, Steve's one of the best in the game. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, I love the fact that he kind of gets the buyer, like he said, his mindset is this is their acquisitions. So put yourself in the shoes of when we're doing acquisitions. Essentially, he's saying, as the wholesaler, I'm the seller, right? Convince me as to why I'm going to sell my property to you. I think he did a good job of that. Obviously, getting him up $7,500 from his original offer is great. And even more impressively, that end buyer says, I was more coming in at like 113.5. I was willing to do the 115. Then I was willing to do the 120, and then he got him up to 122.5. So his marketing got him up $1,500. His initial questions got him up an additional $5,000. And then the follow-up, hey, I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission. Got him up an extra $2,500. Steve Francis, like I said, bro, love you. Appreciate everything that you do for this industry. No one does more live Dispo calls than Steve Francis, and that's why he's the king closer of dispositions. And he's the only other person in this entire industry that has earned the name king closer. Good job, Steve. See you guys next week.